This is my review of the 2018 Toyota 4Runner. Let's go. Alright, what's happening, everybody? Hope your day is going well. You are watching my review on the 2018 Toyota 4Runner. This particular model that I have is TRD Off Road Premium. What that means is it's got all the off-road goodies: crawl control, rear differential lock, multi-terrain select, A-track, that kind of stuff. And the premium means it's got the Softex fake leather in it, sunroof, and I think navigation on the entertainment center. So that's what sets the premium apart from the regular off-road. There's not much I can say about this truck that hasn't been said already. I've had it for a year. It's 20,000 miles I've put on it. I've pretty much went everywhere with it. I've went to the Outer Banks, North Carolina, drove on the beach, been to Montana, had it out at over 10,000 feet on a Jeep trail. We went down to Missouri this spring and Arkansas, goofed around in the Ozarks for a weekend. Had it up to northern Minnesota countless times on the off-road park up there. Went to western Minnesota, went to the off-road park out there. Needless to say, this particular 4Runner has seen some off-roading, a lot of off-roading, probably a lot more than most. I've had it for about a year and 2 months now, so I'm a little late on this review. This is actually a video that I have filmed about 4 times, but I've never liked the way it came together, so now I'm doing it. And as far as what my take on the 4Runner, it's not like a great rock crawler. It's not a great mud truck. It's not a great highway truck. I mean, there's lots of, if you went through the list of driving conditions and stuff, there's not much that this would be tops at over every other mid-size SUV. The thing about that is it would be at the top for all of them. I would put it at the top. So it's not a great rock crawler, but it can do it. It's not a great mud truck, but it can do it. It's not a great highway truck, but It's actually very comfortable on the highway. It just has some little faults, and it's just it's probably the best all-around SUV out there. If you are thinking about the 4Runner and you never go off-road and you're just a highway, a commuter guy, honestly, I would stay away from the 4Runner. It wouldn't be my first choice. There's 1,000 other SUVs that are better at that than the 4Runner. The 4Runner gets not very good gas mileage compared to a lot of other mid-size compact SUVs. It's not great on the highway. I think it's great, but compared to the crossover type SUVs, it's not as comfortable on the highway. There's just better choices out there if you never go off-road. If 99% of your driving is on-road and 1% is off-road, I probably would stay away from the 4Runner. But if you have a mixture of driving, and even if you want to take one trip a year, like say you want to take one trip out west and experience Moab, or if you want to take one trip to the mountains, you want to take one trip to the beach, where you are going to be doing even some light off-road driving on that trip, I truly believe this is your vehicle. I call it an adventure vehicle. It's a great adventure vehicle. It pretty much can get you anywhere and back, and that's the big thing, is between the Toyota reliability, the off-road prowess, it's a great adventure vehicle. And and like I've hinted to, not everything is roses with the 4Runner, in my opinion. As far as on-highway driving, it's got a very nice ride, a very comfortable ride. It's very comfortable on the inside. Ergonomically, it's laid out really well. Everything like that is on par. I personally love the interior and the layout. I know some people don't. The big problem with it on the highway is the fact that it's a 4-liter V6 and a 5-speed. There is a ton of, contrary to what people think, this truck does have a ton of power. It's just the way they have it geared to try and get it better gas mileage. It's not the most responsive truck on the highway, and that's made 10 times worse when you put bigger tires on it, off-road tires on it, and I've experienced that. But even in stock form, like, the cruise control is basically unusable, in my opinion. You hit any little type of hill or any little type of you get wind in your face or anything else, and it kicks out of 5th gear and goes down to 4th and keeps kicking between the two of them, and it's really frustrating and really annoying. And it's just, to me, that's the most annoying thing about the highway drivability, is the cruise control. It's just, and it sounds like, oh, it's a little gripe. Well, it's not a little gripe when you're putting 5,000 miles on it in a week. It's kind of a big gripe, but the cruise control is basically unusable. Like, I hardly ever use it. As far as everything else on the highway, if you're going to be using it for a highway, don't go and put E-loaded E-range tires on there. They're heavy. Even with the stock tires on there, which were very light, it wasn't that great of a highway vehicle, but when you put the bigger tires on there, it just makes it that much worse. And that's why everybody talks about a re-gear. I only have 275s on mine, so I'm probably not going to have a re-gear anytime soon, but it does make the highway drivability a lot worse. My other big gripe with it is the entertainment center. The Entune is a piece of crap. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't like it at all. The touchscreen is useless. Thankfully, there is steering wheel controls and everything else. You never have to really touch the touchscreen. But as far as the touchscreen goes, it's horrible. But everything else, like the GPS and the GPS capabilities in the Off-Road Premium, I mean, it's kind of clunky to enter an address and stuff in there, but it's actually, it works out pretty good, and it gets you to where you're going. My main gripe with it is the fact that the touchscreen is awful. As far as not having Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, I've never had that stuff anyway, so I don't know what I'm missing out on there. The 2020, when it comes out, is going to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So that's going to be the big change. I don't think the 2020 goes basically unchanged from this thing. I want to address some of the other gripes that I've read online about the 4Runner. Some of them I think are fair, some of them I don't think are very fair at all. Obviously, as I've said before, Toyota's Entune, anything you hear about the gripes about that, most of them are pretty fair. It is a pretty rotten system. The power issues with the 4Runner, I'll be completely honest, the 4Runner is not underpowered, not in the least. It is not a race car, was never meant to be a race car. I've heard people complain, oh, I came from a WRX or I came from a Mustang and this thing barely gets out of its way. Well, yeah, compared to a sports car, it's slow as hell. But compared to other, you know, almost 5,000 pound SUVs that were never meant to be speedsters, I think it does pretty good. You go back to like the 3rd generation Toyota, they had 200 horsepower. 4Runner, the 3rd generation 4Runner, had 200 horsepower, a 4-speed transmission. You know, and yeah, it's a little bit behind the times with the 5-speed transmission, but as far as that goes, the engine transmission combo, I know there's a lot of people that are wanting them to update it. I want them to keep it the same. The 4-liter is absolutely bulletproof. It makes really good power. If anything, they could update the transmission. 6 or 8 speed transmission would really help its highway problems, but you know, I'll take the little bit of gripes with the not having a lot of power on the highway, or I'll re-gear it or whatever, but I would rather have a engine that I know is bulletproof and that is going to run for 300,000 miles with giving you very little problems, along with the rest of the platform. I believe the 5th gen has proven itself to be a very reliable vehicle. People can say what they want about the looks or whatever. I personally love the looks. I put a TRD Pro grill on there because I wanted to be a poser just like everybody else. I think that grill is the best looking grill, so
oh, I know.
They had a Christmas special, I put it on there then, and no, I didn't do a video about that mod either because it's not really a mod. You know, I mean, as far as like the truck not having a lot of power or being underpowered or whatever, it's completely not true. A lot of these people are coming from cars or, you know, whatnot. They haven't driven, you know, a lot of heavier vehicles like this, and they are slower. They're a heavier vehicle. They're not meant to be a race car. So deal with it or go back to a car. One or the other. Or you put a $6,000 supercharger on here and it's probably just as fast as what you were driving. So another thing I always hear is, oh, they're so expensive. Actually, if you look at new vehicles, they're one of the cheaper mid-size SUVs. Hyundai and Kia and the Honda Pilot and the Ford Explorer, and if you went to outfit any of those with what this truck has, I paid $39,800 for this truck off the lot. If you went to outfit any mid-size SUV with leather and a sunroof, it is going to be well above $39,800. And for everything that this truck offers, I believe that it's a better deal than the Hyundai or the Kia or the Ford Explorer or I don't even know what Chevy makes anymore, the Traverse, which actually a new Traverse is a nice looking vehicle. So, and you know, I mean, get over it. New cars are expensive, just the way it is. Don't buy one if you think they're too expensive. I wanted the reliability because, like I've stated before, I have to drive a long ways to get to anything cool. So driving a vehicle with 200,000 miles to the mountains or to the ocean just doesn't interest me. So I wanted something new so I could do that stuff. That's why I got this vehicle. But so as far as cost goes, it's not an expensive vehicle as far as mid-size SUVs go. You can get a lot more expensive than this vehicle. Oh, the other gripes that I always hear are the paint is soft, it chips easy, which it does. I'm not gonna lie, I got chips all over my fender flares. I do a lot of dirt driving though, a lot of driving on dirt and a lot of driving on trails. It scratches pretty easy, but I don't think it's any different than any other vehicle I've ever driven off-road. I think a lot of the people complaining about the chipping and the scratching paint never really drove a vehicle off-road before, and they don't know how abusive it is to your paint. So If you're gonna go off-road and anything, I think you're gonna pay the price. You know, from rocks and branches and everything else, they scratch your vehicle. It's just the way it is, so deal with it. Oh, headlights, fog lights. Heard a lot of gripe about that because they are regular old halogen, which I've heard them called barely useful and a whole bunch of things. People are ridiculous. I do a lot of driving at night and I feel that they're adequate. Are they super powerful? No. Are they annoying to other drivers? No. I hardly ever get flashed. I did have to adjust them down after doing my lift because, as you can see, I'm actually a little bit negative rake right now until I do what I'm going to do on the rear end. So I did have to adjust the headlights down a little bit. But I feel they're more than adequate. If you're having problems with your headlights and you don't want to switch, I just don't want to switch over to an LED or something that's not made for this housing. You can get different bulb intensities too. You can change that out. You can go to bright lights or whatever for your halogen bulbs, and that might help you out with being able to see a little bit more. You know, the other things that I would like to see Toyota offer, especially when you have the off-road package or the Pro, is some type of rock slider from the factory. I know Jeeps are doing that now. Maybe a little bit beefier roof rack. Otherwise, as far as off-road capable SUVs, I think this is probably it. In my opinion, it's probably the most capable adventure vehicle out there. Over the course of 20,000 miles, I have averaged about 17 and a half, 18 miles per gallon. It goes from the time when I had my stock tires on there, I had them on there for about 8,000 miles. I was averaging about 19 miles per gallon. And now that I have the BF Goodrich KO2 in an E-range tire at a 275/70/17, I am averaging about 17 miles per gallon. That is a lot of city too. No, not city, kind of combined. I think it's still capable of getting around 19 and a half, 20 miles per gallon on the highway, if you drive it right on the highway with the bigger tires on there. But you're not going to get any more than that. Probably right around 19 would be your best. That concludes my review on the 2018 Toyota 4Runner. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more outdoor related videos from off-roading to hunting, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.